Hello children, and welcome to today's collective worship. We're going to start with our usual greeting, which is, this is the day that the Lord has made. And together we can say, let us rejoice and be glad in it. Okay, so today, children, hopefully you're watching this today on Thursday, because today is a very special day in the Christian calendar. It's a day that's called Ascension Day. Now, you may want to talk about this after collective worship, because Ascension Day is a very important day, and it is the end and sums up the Easter story. Now, ascension is quite a grown-up word for those of you who are in reception in year one, but ascension is a word I think we should explore, and one that perhaps is better discussed within your classes. But to help you understand this, I've got a story. Well, it's a story, but it's also some information really, because we are going over the timeline of events which talk us and take us through the Easter story. So if we think back to the actual timeline of events of the Easter story, it starts with Palm Sunday, and that's when Jesus actually arrives in Jerusalem and is greeted by thousands of people all waving palms to welcome him to Jerusalem. This is followed, as you can see in the next picture, which is Maundy Thursday. And this is where Jesus has a very special meal with all his special friends, and hopefully you can remember what those friends were called, being disciples. And they shared this meal, which Jesus knew was going to be the last meal he was going to have with them. The next day, I haven't got a picture for this one, was Good Friday. And on that day, Jesus is, as you know, captured and is put to the cross. And on that day, Jesus sadly died. But then we have on the Sunday, and we call it Easter Sunday, which is actually a momentous time for this story, because it's the day that Jesus comes back to life. And as I said to you at the beginning, we're talking about Ascension Day. And this is why we are talking about this today, because 40 days after Palm Sunday is when Jesus actually goes back to heaven. And you can see a picture there where Jesus, it looks like he's being lifted, as though he is ascending. And that is one of the reasons why we call this Ascension Day, this very special day, because it's the 40th day after Palm Sunday. So let's find out a little bit more about what happens leading up to that. So after Jesus came back to life, he spent 40 days with his friends. The first person he appeared to was his special friend, who, as we know, was called Mary. She had been sitting crying next to where Jesus had been buried, and couldn't believe it when she first got there and saw that the tomb had been opened and actually Jesus wasn't there. But when she did see Jesus for the first time, she was so shocked. I wonder whether you could just take a moment and think to yourself, I've just seen something happen to somebody and now they are here in front of me. Imagine those thoughts. She must have been very, very shocked. She must have been relieved. She must have been pleased. Now we also know the story about Emmaus, the road to Emmaus, which Mrs. Robertson has already shared with you, but just to recap on that story. Remember what I said, it was a very, very long road, and in those days people didn't have cars or bikes. People walked on very long journeys. And as these two men were walking along the road to Emmaus, Jesus appeared. And at first they were talking away, didn't recognize him. And then Jesus talked to them about God and how to be good people. After he'd left, his friends suddenly realized that person we were just talking to was actually Jesus. And they went and told everybody about it. Some of Jesus's friends were a little bit suspicious. They thought, this can't be Jesus. It must be a ghost or something. Jesus told them to touch his hand and his feet to prove that he wasn't a ghost. It was actually him. Some people, though, found it very difficult to believe. One of Jesus's special friends, called Thomas, hadn't seen Jesus yet. When the others told him that Jesus had come back, he did not believe them. I will not believe it until I actually see him and touch him, said Thomas. And all of a sudden, Jesus appeared. Ah, my Lord and my God, said Thomas. You believe I'm alive because you've now seen me, said Jesus. Now that you've seen me, other people will believe you. Go and spread the word. Jesus explained to his friends that he would soon be going back to heaven. And although they felt very sad about this, Jesus knew that he had given them an important job. Their job was to tell people all around the world that Jesus had come back to life and was actually the Son of God. Imagine, though, how those people must have been feeling. First, they thought Jesus had died. Then he came back to life. And now he was telling them he was going to heaven. Imagine how his friends must have felt. All of a sudden, a cloud seemed to appear. It came down from the sky and it surrounded Jesus. Gradually, Jesus, his body seemed to float right up into the sky until his friends couldn't see him anymore. Some angels suddenly appeared with Jesus. Why are you staring up at the sky? One of the angels said. One day, you will see Jesus again. Jesus's friends did the job that he had given them. They went all around the world just as Jesus had asked them to tell everybody he was alive and was the Son of God. Jesus would be very, very pleased with all his friends because they'd listened to his last word. Now, we've talked about this special day, which is called Ascension Day. And what I'd like you to do now is to just think about some of the things that I've been saying, talking about the story, the timeline of events. And we'll finish our collective worship now with either you putting your hands together and reading this quietly to yourself with me, or you can close your eyes and listen to Mrs. Robertson. Dear God, We thank you for friends whom we will always remember, even if they are no longer with us. We are thankful that you have promised to be a friend to us and ask that you show us how to be loyal and true friends at all times. Amen. Now, we've talked a lot this week about friendship. We're thinking about the right of others to choose their friends. And I hope that you've all had a good week so far, thinking about respecting your friends, thinking about the importance of respecting when somebody wants to play with someone or not. And now we've listened to the story of Jesus and his ascent, going up to heaven. Let's think about, again, that true meaning of friendship. Think about what Jesus asked all his friends to do, which was to spread the word. Thinking about how to be good and loyal friends. And that's what hopefully, children, you're thinking about doing as well. Thank you for listening. And I'd like to finish by saying, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us all rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you, children. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.